We have Matthias on the call. And why don't you give a little introduction so that the group has an idea of what your background is?
All right. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. So I'm Mathias. I'm from Belgium. I'm also in the data world for over 16 years now. I'm actually a sociologist, bachelor in sociology, master's degree in business economics, rolled into data. It was a bug that bit me and I started to do primarily data governance, doing data governance for over 16 years, with also a bit of data quality, metadata management, master data management. I founded my own consulting company about 6 years ago, developed an own data governance methodology called Data Governance Sprint. Been using that also for the past 5 years. Been talking about it at the conferences and hopefully, touch wood, within a month or two, it will also be published in book form. So something to look forward to. And then the second big assignment that I'm currently on is for over a year and a half now, I'm also the project manager for the new DMBOK, Data Management Body of Knowledge. So I also work for Data International, and we're developing that third version of the DMBOK, which hopefully will come your way next year. So yeah, that's a bit in a nutshell who I am, what I do.
Yeah, the data governance MVP across all.
Yeah. And perhaps I forgot something
Uh-huh.
that might be interested because this was very oriented towards data governance. I'm also for over a year now doing a PhD, an executive PhD in data governance. So I'm at the beginning of the journey. So I still have like 3, 4 years to go. But my goal is to do academic research into data governance practices, the successful management of data assets through governance.
Amazing. Yeah, so I guess my first question for you then is how has doing your work towards your PhD helped you? Has that refined your thinking around the data governance sprints methodology? How have you kind of implemented what you've learned, if that's changed your work at all?
Well, so over the past 16 years, I've seen a lot of practices that either work or don't work. A bit of the conclusion that some of the data governance experts made, amongst them John Latley, Tom Redman, Bob Steiner, data governance is difficult. I don't want to say it's failing all the time. That's
Mhm.
not the case. There are definitely success cases, but there are so many factors that are roadblocks and support makes it fail. And that's also what my PhD will be about. So I'm interested in, first of all, map out all the data governance practices that companies apply, and then look into which practices and combination of practices are successful. Most commonly, something I hope all of you already also know is that governance is also like changing people's behavior. It's assigning people a different specific role. It's making them follow specific policies. So it's changing their behavior. And it's in that changing, that's big bottleneck. Take into consideration also executive sponsorship, culture change, having the right use case. So, that happens. And that also kind of inspired me for my topic, my PhD.
Very cool. So, what do you think is the most important things people should know about cultural change? Just for people's awareness, there's a chapter in the DMBOK on culture change. It's not
Yeah.
tested on the fundamentals exam. I know you probably can't speak to your work specifically updating everything for B3, but just in general, what do you think is important for the audience to know about cultural change and change management? And how does that interact with the content in the book, if you can say?
Yeah. Perhaps first a disclaimer. I don't have the number one solution or the silver bullet solution. I don't know how you say it properly. For me, I've done multiple consulting engagement and stand-up data governance programs over a dozen times now. And each time there's something that comes up. And I always go in with the idea, right, this time this will be a success. And I apply all the best practices in my methodology. But still, it's that cultural thing that's the most difficult one. And one of my latest consulting gigs, I thought I really had executive sponsorship and a very engaged CDO. But when he or she needed to step up, that didn't happen. And so
Mm,
that executive sponsorship kind of drained and really hits on that cultural change. It should be that person that should lead that awareness first and foremost, not the external consultant. It should be that person If that doesn't happen, it trickles down the lack of commitment, resulting in people who needs to pick up a specific role or do specific things, basically ask the question, why should I do that? I don't get the bandwidth. What I always focus on in starting up data governance is, first of all, building a lot of the awareness across the entire company. And I make a lot of business references to how they manage other assets within their company, specifically like money. That's so obvious for most of them, but it's in the repetition that also helps. So you focus on that awareness, communication, training, coaching, all that kind of stuff. So that's basically the majority of the work. Writing a policy is easy, but it's that embedding it is the difficult one.
Yeah, something you said really resonated with me, which is like the repetition element. It's like with marketing, I think they'd have some, I guess, studies showing people need to hear the same message 7 times before it actually like starts to sink
Yeah.
in even a little bit. So I think the same goes for communicating the wins out of data governance and making sure that that's heard by across the team and also especially for sponsors. So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And if I can elaborate a little bit, what I also noticed is you need to be creative at the end. I'll give an example. About 2 or 3 years ago, I did also stand up data governance. It was kind of on a shoestring, like all data governance programs. And so they wanted to create awareness about data governance. It was at one of the larger European container terminals in the port, which is specific type of people. And so amongst a group of 300 information workers, they wanted to upskill a bit the data literacy. And it was not the type of people that you put in a room and lecture. So we came up with a comic book. So we created like this A4, that's European format.
Yeah, paper
You
size,
know,
right?
exactly, double-sided. And we created this cartoon figure called Container Chris. And so Container Chris had all these data adventures of amongst one of them is, of course, data governance. And so we made the connection with how they treat containers coming from a ship, a lot of security things, customs, all that kind of stuff. They need to know quality, you name it. We made that analogy, created that comic book, distributed it, and that Container Chris then became also like a gimmick, but also we created a stress ball from it and a footer. And yeah, so it was
That's
really
so
a
cool.
marketing campaign. Yeah. So that was a success and cost a little bit of money, but still it was on a shoestring, but it increased that awareness and that momentum. So that's one example.
Yeah, so creative and awesome. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of what a friend of the company, Bob Seiner, is doing with his latest book. I don't know, Matthias, if you've had a chance to connect with him recently, but Bob Seiner is, of course, the author of Non-Invasive Data Governance. He's written a new book about catalyzing change. And he had a little coyote that he came up with as his mascot for this new book. And just showing like, okay, coyotes are wily to
Mhm.
reference a famous cartoon, Coyote. But yes, I think whatever you can do to make your message sticky and fun for people to
Yeah,
engage with, that's a great, great idea. So
exactly. Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, so we're getting some awesome audience questions here. A couple questions around AI. I guess I'm going to break this out into two aspects. What is the impact of analytical AI on data governance? Feel free in your answer to address how do you govern AI, like advanced machine learning, things like that. But also, are there tools that you've seen based in AI that are useful for data governance? And same
Mhm.
thing for generative AI. How do you help companies think about governing generative AI? And then I guess to some extent, do you see companies using generative AI for their governance?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think first and foremost, AI, how I see it, is the most demanding and unforgiving data consumer that you have within a
Mm,
company. So
yeah.
although it's always nice to perceive it as that new, nice and shiny object, at the end of the day, it needs your data. And you know the phrase garbage in, garbage out. I'm also into AI governance, but 80% of AI governance is also like data governance. It's only like on the risk management and the model management and looking into bias mitigation and all that kind of stuff that
Yeah.
adds to it. It starts with that qualitative. It starts with the basics that you also find in the DMBOK. It's the data quality and the metadata and the lineage, which are key elements if you want to do something with AI. I was once at a conference and I spoke with the guy who led the group of data scientists and creating like AI products. He said it takes about 6 months, ballpark figure, 6 months to build something with AI. He said out of those 6 months, at least 3 to 4 months My data scientists spend their
Mm.
time in cleaning up the data, searching the data, wrangling the data. So they're doing basic data cleanup stuff. That's why I emphasize more to focus on data governance or learn how to crawl before you run. Also, what I see through that big focus on Gen AI and creating data products with AI is an increase data governance because it was slowed away. But thanks to AI, we see an increase on that. I don't know if I actually answer your question. I know you asked
Yeah.
something
No.
about tools.
Yeah.
I spent quite some time keeping track of all the tools, but they're growing like mushrooms lately. And so
Yeah.
I stopped, and it's a full-time job to keep track of them. Although Bob Steiner informed me of an interesting one in Australia.
Okay.
But what was it? The name of it? Oh, shoot.
While you're looking that up,
Yeah,
I'll just say I definitely am aligned with what you're saying. I've taught a little workshop around AI, and we definitely included the same slide saying, okay, 80% of AI governance is data governance. So, yeah, definitely aligned there. And then all the rest is model specific around mitigating the AI risks and helping communicate and making sure that you're capitalizing on the unique benefits associated with these tools. But yeah, definitely the foundations are in data governance.
yeah. I don't find the tool anymore,
No
but
worries. Follow Matthias on LinkedIn. I guess maybe you can share
I
his
can do that. I can do
experience.
that. Yeah, I need to look
Uh,
in my search history.
totally. Yeah, I feel that. So, are you at liberty to say at all around the DMBOK V3 how they're thinking about AI? Like, is that a knowledge area or something that they're going to loop into data governance?
It's definitely on the table. To give a bit of inside information here, so we're still in the design phase. By the way, we're wrapping up the design and consolidation phase by the end of March, beginning of April. And our vision, the outline, how we will publish, and all of that will be written down in an editorial charter. We can see that as a position paper, and we will make that available to the community. So everybody, we have a dedicated website. It's called dema.dembog.org. You can also access it through dema.org. We will publish our position paper. You can read it. You can give comments on it because we think it's important that our users and the community knows what direction the ship will sail and can give comments. Say, hey, no, I don't want that ship to go that way. I want it to go that way. So we can address that before starting to write anything. So the writing itself will start as of April and onwards. That being said, how will AI be addressed in the book? That's probably up for debate. So it will
Mhm.
definitely be addressed. With regards to the content, we will have, of course, a new book, but we will also have a platform. And that platform allows us to publish content that we can continuously curate, we can adapt, and specifically like evolving, I don't want to say trends, but evolving technologies like AI, then such a platform is ideal so we can keep evolving content and keep up to date with what's happening on AI and how it reflects within the data management knowledge areas.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will definitely be a knowledge area because there's a debate. Some people see AI as like the user of the data, and others see it as something that belongs in the wheel, so to say.
Yeah.
So it's not debated on yet, but it will definitely be addressed and it will be communicated about what it will be, where it should end.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think you guys are doing a really awesome job of making the process super collaborative. The town halls have been so well organized, and I've seen the response like so many practitioners joining the town halls and the way that the focus groups are being run, trying to really make sure that you're being thoughtful about taking in feedback has been really cool, definitely exceeding expectations. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you. Yeah, from the beginning, we wanted to have this created by the community and for the community, but in a structured way to avoid chaos of 1,000 people wanted to write something. So we have a dedicated and figured out governance model with an editorial board and a review panel and activities with the community. But we really put in the work to reach out to our members in the community. So we did a survey. We're doing focus groups with the chapters, with the members, or we will publish our position paper. You can comment on it. On the website, you find all project documents, how we organize things. You can comment on that. There's a form. We will do a public exposure period of content for the members. So a lot of stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that sounds like a great approach. Somebody did ask about making the book more practical. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into like a whole feedback session. I know, like
That's
you and I
fine.
personally, like I know you did interviews with a lot of people, and I
Yeah.
gave you literally a whole list of feedback. Yeah, I think I might even have even more. I just did a boot camp. I just flew back in last night from doing a corporate training, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts now.
Yeah.
Anyway, the book is, as I'm reading it and digesting the content that's there, it is very much focused on a happy path of
Yeah.
ideally, this is what your data governance would look like. And you'd have sponsor buy in, and
Yeah.
people would be really excited to engage in these initiatives versus a lot of people are dealing with legacy systems and sponsors who are busy or have other things in mind. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jonas, I don't know if that's what you were thinking about with your question, but I don't know. That's my reaction to it.
Yeah.
Is like, I do the book is great. It's very useful as a body of knowledge for guidance, but then trying to apply it IRL is sometimes is like the difference between expectations and reality. Like that meme of someone making a cake on Pinterest and it's like beautiful and perfect. And then you try to make the same cake and it looks like a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
anyway,
I can answer that. So if we summarize all the feedback we've collected so far, we have two things that really frequently come up, which is of course AI, but also the practical, pragmatic implementation of stuff. So the current book is good to say, this is what you need to do. This is why you need to do it. But then it kind of leaves you at your hunger, so to say.
yeah.
We really want to work on that. So again, it's at the moment the idea and the path that we're looking into, and it's our vision. But the book will be smaller. It will be more, call it, for evergreen content. So think content that will not change, hopefully, when it's being published, but really can be relevant a couple of years that comes. It'll be smaller at the moment, and I know it's very high level, but it will be content that gives an answer to why do we do X, Y, and Z, and what does it mean X, Y, and Z? So that kind of core evergreen content. And then we have the platform, and the platform should accompany that book with deep dives into X, Y, and Z. First and foremost, how to pragmatic stuff, case studies, really make the practical translation of how you do stuff. It will be a growing body of knowledge, but we're thinking also to add templates to it,
Hmm.
case studies, you mentioned that, centralized glossary,
Yeah.
and
Centralized glossary.
yeah, and a glossary that will be continuously updated, and it will also be interactive. So we're looking for a platform where you as a user can indicate a new term, or you can indicate changes, or you can submit revisions of content. I don't want to say it's a Wikipedia, but it will have that kind of community dynamic engagement capability to it. So we can grow the body of knowledge by the community itself. At the end of the day, we're a nonprofit membership association and
Right.
trying to evolve the data management practice, hoping also that the community helps build the body of knowledge there. And talking about AI, we also have the hopes and dreams to create on the platform some kind of a LLM on top of the body of knowledge, kind of a DMBOK ChatGPT, where you can say, hey, I'm a chief data officer, or I'm a project manager somewhere and I need to do this or that. What does the body of knowledge say? That produces an output. It's on our roadmap, and that's ideally what we want.
That would be really very cool to get to chat with the DMBOK versus just me cursing it out in frustration. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, that sounds like a great resource. So, yeah, thank you so much for all of the work that you have done so far as a project manager. And it is like a huge undertaking. It's so important for the community. That's why people are asking about it. And we all want to see the DMBOK V3 be as good as it can be, right? So,
Yeah.
it's really exciting.
And perhaps something important also to point out, I am not the one writing it. So I'm just making sure that stuff happens. We have a dedicated development team. It's called the editorial board. There are 11 people, all volunteers, experts, of course, in the data domain. They all do this on top of their professional and personal life. We have now formed a formal review panel consisting of CDMP masters. So we have selected 7 of them. Just like this week, the board has appointed 7 panel members. They will formally review that content. And then we have the community that can also engage, can review, can give feedback. But we also call upon the community for contributions. So within 2 or 3 months, we will put out specific call for contributions, like we need this type of content. We're looking for this type of content. So if amongst anybody here, you're an expert in something and you want to contribute, please react because we don't have all the knowledge in house. I really rely on the community of data professionals. Just wanted to make that clear as well.
Yeah, that's an awesome call out. So, for folks who want to contribute, I guess the best way is to watch the website, which again is dmbok.org. And is there a mailing list as well that people can
Yeah,
join?
there you can subscribe to a newsletter.
Huh?
We don't spam people. We send a newsletter like bi-monthly or every 3 months. Then every quarter we have a town hall where we announce a lot of stuff. So we really wait until we have something valuable to say. And whenever there's an engagement opportunity, we also reach out to our mailing list. And like good ethical data people, this is a temporary mailing list. From the moment the project is done, we delete it all so you won't get spammed again.
Nice.
So
Yeah, love that. Okay, thank you again so much for joining us. Is there a good place where people can find your work? And also, what would be your preferred way for people to follow you in your journey?
LinkedIn is by far the most easiest way. I'm not very active on LinkedIn, so I don't post weekly articles, but from time to time I do post something. I
Mhm.
co-wrote an article with Bob Signer about a month ago, Sprint with Change. So it's a combination of my sprint and his non-invasive data governance approach. So yeah, I try to post what I consider something valuable from time to time. So drop me a message and happy to chat.
Amazing. Okay, well, yeah, thank you so much again for joining. This is a really awesome session. I can't wait to get this up on YouTube for anybody who can't join us today. And thank you guys again for coming, attending. Best of luck to those who are studying for their CDMPs. And hopefully, we'll see everybody again next month when we have our next interview with an expert.
Thanks
Thank you.
for having me, Nicole. Take care,
Absolutely.
everybody.